I just watched Missing 411, the UFO Connection by David Paulides. Really intriguing stuff. We've got, obviously the missing. We have a UFO connection, and we've got elk. Elk are part of this. So let's dive into this. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. Please hit like, please subscribe, and please hit the bell to be notified of future videos. Please share on social media and comment below as I'm going through the story. Also, please consider supporting Cosmic Road, allowing me to spend more time on the channel and make these videos as good as you deserve by becoming a channel member. See the first line in the description below. Okay, many of you guys are familiar with David Paulides and his work on the missing 411 cases. And I've actually never seen one of his movies before. I've seen many of his presentations and listened to many of his interviews, but I've never seen one of the movies or read one of his books. I am in no way a missing 411 scholar. But I have absorbed a lot of his material over the years, and I was very interested, especially in the UFO connection to these cases, because that's what has always been my theory. That's the only thing that makes sense to me, is that there is something paranormal or alien going on here. And so, sure enough, we get into this movie, this documentary, and right away there is a UFO connection. Well, I can take it case by case, or I can give you my general overview. I did make some notes as I went through the movie. So we could start by that, I guess, if you'll bear with me. But yeah, there is a man, the hunter, I believe, and it's interesting that he fires his weapon not at anything attacking him, but at a headlight of an oncoming car. And he's out in the wilderness, but there's a car coming, and he shoots at the car, at the headlights. So was he disoriented and thinking that the headlights belonged to a UFO that he believed was going to abduct him, or something like that? Is that why he fired at the car? I don't know, but it is very intriguing. I believe he was also out hunting elk, and there is a strong elk connection to all of these cases in this particular documentary. In Missing 411, the UFO connection. And in that area, this is a different case, but right where he went missing, there had been some workers, I want to say they were logging, and they saw a UFO, a small UFO, come over a herd of elk, pick one up in its tractor beam, and start to fly off. And this was a small UFO, not a whole lot bigger than the elk it was abducting. And, maybe because it was so small, who knows, but it wasn't operating very well. And it actually hit a tree on its way out and had to reposition itself and fly above the tree. So, highly intriguing. You couple that with all the UFO crashes, and then you have a UFO hitting a tree. So, these things are not infallible. They're not gods. Good or bad, they're not gods. David also brings up the very interesting feature or fact that there is a chronic wasting disease among elk in that area, and it's a large area, and it may be connected to an aquifer, a giant aquifer in that area. And he posits that maybe the UFOs are monitoring the elk disease, the chronic wasting disease, and they're concerned about the elks. That could well be, but it could be that the beings are causing the disease. And I say that because the beings are interacting with the elk. In another case in this documentary, there is a man who is abducted by the beings. Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that. He's out elk hunting, as I think everybody, all of the missing people in this documentary are, and he comes upon these elk that are just frozen. They're not moving. They're not. I mean, they're frozen in place. And he's a hunter. He's there to hunt. He's not daunted by these guys just frozen in place. So he starts to shoot one. His bullet hits off an invisible barrier, and then he sees this weird transparent cube thing, and he is taken aboard a ship. He is taken aboard a craft by the beings, and he actually meets one of these beings. Very unusual fellow he encounters. The being has stringy hair. He only has one. Well, I was going to say one hand, but he does not have any hands. One of his, where a hand would be, is a cone-shaped device. And where his other hand should be is no hand. So a very odd creature. I don't know how that being can function without any hands or opposable digits. So I don't think we're seeing the full picture on that being. Is it some sort of half robotic thing and it can have different limbs, or was it not showing itself the way it is? Was this a placeholder memory or something else, some mirage it was giving to this gentleman? I don't know, but another very interesting thing of a feature of this case is that the beings in that ship were hunting elk. They were there to collect some elk, and apparently this hunter interfered or happened upon them while they were doing this because they wanted the elk meat. They actually eat the elk, and the beings say they come here for the water and for the elk. That is highly interesting. So it makes you think of hunters just roaming the cosmos looking for some tasty animals and some nice nutritious water, and they just come to a planet that has things that it likes to eat and drink and does that. But that is not the end of the story, because they would have kept him if he had. I mean, this is his theory, but he believes they would have kept him had he not had a vasectomy. If his reproductive ability was not hampered, he believes they would have kept him. In what way exactly, it is unclear. Would they have, killed him? Would he have become a missing 411 victim where they find the human remains? Or would they have taken him on adventures in space and time and or put him in some zoo somewhere? It's very unclear, but it is a very interesting and unusual case. Another interesting feature of that case, the man Reinhardt, I believe is his name, when the aliens were done with him, they put him down, and his wife was compelled to go out and find him. And they must have put the thought in her brain to go and look for him, and must have given her some direction to look in. Well, when they do find him, he's all messed up. I mean, mentally, he's just really bad off. He gets better, but he's kind of ranting and raving, and they're actually worried. She and the sheriff are worried they might have to use force against him. I mean, he's pretty bad off, poor guy. So I think it's clear that his mind was probably tampered with, or that could just be an honest reaction to encountering the beings. But it's interesting also that his tuberculosis scars were healed. They were cleared up, whether intentionally or not. The beings didn't seem to really do any of this for his benefit. So it's interesting that they would have healed him of these scars if that's what happened. Another case from an individual, an elk hunter in that area. He went missing after having seen a UFO. The UFO was actually following him, he believed. And, he was probably correct. There's another similar case, and there's actually two cases of old men disappearing. And the three cases, there are three cases that are located very close to an Air Force base, which is intriguing. All were of German descent. All were elk hunters. In another case, not exactly a missing 411 case, but David Paulides is interviewing a MUFON member, the head of the MUFON for a particular state, I believe. And this fellow is recounting an experience of an elk hunter, I believe, who encountered the beings, and the beings told him to build a well, to dig a well in the event of an apocalypse. Now, David Paulides theorizes that, the well connects to the aquifer that is a big part of this region and seems like it may have a connection to these cases. And he posits that maybe the ships are coming and going from the well, and they were using this man to build a well, allowing them to come and go more freely. Now, it could be, but I don't think the beings are hindered by such minor inconveniences as land. I think they can come and go from land. I think I saw one do that. It was so quick, it was really hard to be sure. But the more I think about it, and the more similar cases I hear about, the more convinced I am that that is probably what I saw. It was going very fast, like as fast as a bullet, and it went right into the ground. So anyway, moving on. Yeah, they're all elk hunters. There's the wasting disease in that area. There's the aquifer, and there's the Air Force base. Those are the points of commonality. But what does it all mean? I don't know. That is the perplexing thing about the missing 411 cases, is what does it mean? The one fellow who encountered the elk hunting aliens, is his experience somehow related to the answer to all of this? Are elk hunting aliens the cause of all of the missing 411 phenomena? I don't think so. I imagine there are disparate causes for some of this stuff, but maybe. The missing 411 stuff is so perplexing and fascinating. It's very frustrating because there are so few answers. In a lot of the UFO and alien and extra-dimensional activity, we do get some answers. We get a peek behind the curtain. There's thousands, if not millions, of contactees who have come forward to tell of their experiences, and with remembering what the beings told them. So we do have information about the beings and what they were doing, or at least what they said they were doing. With the missing 411 cases, we get very little of that. We get this one guy with his elk hunting aliens, and he passed a lie detector, and he does not seem like a flighty guy. So that is one small peek behind possibly just one curtain, but we get so few answers about this stuff. Now, David did sit down with John D'Souza, an FBI guy and a researcher into all of this strangeness. And John was not interviewed very long for the movie. I think he probably gave a much longer interview in real life, and they edited it down very quickly. But David said that what John told him really aligned a lot with what he was finding and made a lot of sense. And he was talking a little bit about other realities or dimensions. But he did not go into any detail in the movie. So I'm really hoping that David Paulides releases the full interview he did with John D'Souza, because I would love to know what John and his contacts, because he was specifically talking about his sources in the government and what they thought about all of this. And it seemed like they had some very definite thoughts, but David Paulides did not show that full interview. Maybe he could not. Maybe John disclosed that to him in confidence. But if not, I would really like to see what other people are saying, especially experts who have been looking into this, what they are saying about the missing 411 phenomenon. It's a puzzling, mysterious, very solemn phenomenon, and it makes me uncomfortable talking about because so many of these cases have resulted in deaths. Very mysterious, strange deaths that don't give a whole lot of comfort to their family members. But those are just my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Please smash the subscribe button and hit the bell so you don't miss a single video. Please join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. And please, if you enjoy these videos, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a channel member. See the first line in the description below, and there's 2 tiers of membership to receive exclusive access in videos. Until next time, this is Jack with Cosmic Road.